It's Friday! That's all I'm saying. Oh my.
And it's going to be a lovely Friday.
It is. It's going to be gorgeous today. Sunny and nice and warm.
And like 25 degrees or something. Mm-hmm. Perfect weather for the Relay for Life tonight.
Yes. Looking forward or what?
Yes. I'm looking forward to doing the laps and socializing with everybody that's there and having some good food and watching all the kids play in the bouncy houses and stuff like that and getting their faces.
You can't go in there.
I can't go in the bouncy
No, you're too tall. Sorry.
Okay, is there like a sign that says if you're more than this tall, you can't go on the bouncy house?
I'm going to make one just for you. Don't let Tim in.
Don't let Tim bounce.
Not even a height thing. Just don't even let him in.
No.
He walks towards you, shut her down.
I'm going to be on the track all by myself.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to, don't go near Tim. Just make him walk alone.
I'm going to give you a sandwich board. Tim walks alone.
Tim was, no, what?
I was thinking, do you ever have trouble sleeping? You're so busy when you finally get to bed. Do you ever have like a moment where you're like...
To be honest, sleep used to be my worst enemy.
Really?
I think it was a family thing. My grandmother was the same way. I know my mother was the same way, and I did it too. My head would hit the pillow, and suddenly every worry I had in the world would be ringing in my ears. Or I would lie there and think about all the things I've done in my life that I wish I hadn't done or that I wish I could change, and then I'd worry about what was going to be happening and what I not being prepared. And you know what I finally realized, and this took some therapy, was when you're lying in your bed at that moment, there's nothing you can do to change what you've done or what you're going to do tomorrow or what's going on right now. All you can do is let it go, and you have realize that you have no control at that point over anything in your life other than self-care, which means sleep.
So how do you, when your thoughts are like rumbling around and stuff,
white noise.
White noise.
I play white, Keith can't stand it. But he can fall asleep with the TV on. I can't.
Jim
if the TV's on, I listen.
Me too. I'm like, I can't have the radio or music on because then I start singing along.
No. Oh, and that's not.
No,
that's not good.
And Jim can never sleep when that happens.
Neither can the neighbors. When I do white noise because I start focusing on the white noise, which is nothingness.
With is nothing.
Yes.
Oh, I get so.
Or running water. I have a pond outside my bedroom window, and there's a waterfall. And so last night, actually, I did this. I opened the window, and I could hear the water flowing, which is soothing for me.
Or Mike Tchaikovsky saying rain at night.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can do white noise that's rain too. Like if you like those sounds, you can get white noise, and some of them are programmed. I use Spotify, and it's programmed for about 3 hours, and by that time you're sleeping.
Asleep. Oh, you know what? That's good advice, because I woke up this morning and I had marks on my hand from my fingernails.
No.
My shoulders were up like this, sleeping. Yeah.
No. And you know what else? You need to train yourself that bed is for sleep. If you can't fall asleep, get out of the bed and go sit in a chair and read a book.
See, I'm way too lazy for that.
No, don't read in bed. If you have an issue with insomnia, do not read in bed. Do not watch television in bed. You need to train your brain that bed is for sleep. I learned all of this in counseling. Yes.
So, and you feel much better now with your sleep pattern?
My sleep patterns have changed completely since I followed those simple rules.
The simple rules.
They're not really that simple, but you got to be. It's training your brain. It is. And then now when I go to bed and I turn that white noise on, I get shivers, and I pull the covers up, and I. Mike's laughing in my ear. I do. It just makes me go hum.
Can you just like come and sit at the end of our bed, cross-legged, and go hum?
I thought you would make me a white noise.
No, then you spit on everybody. That's not so nice.
That would be. You wouldn't sleep. Jim would not like me on the end of your bed anyway.
No, probably not.
I don't think so. I don't think Keith would like me on the end of your bed either.
No, I don't think so. Did you see the big kerfuffle, the latest big kerfuffle from President Trump?
That's why you can't sleep at night. You're watching kerfuffles with Trump.
Oh my God, kerfuffling everywhere. He's a kerfuffler.
No, now what happened?
Well, the state of New York, the Attorney General, is suing his foundation.
I did hear this.
His charity that he hasn't contributed to since apparently 1982.
He's saying, well, I only took 18 million and paid 19 million out. How do you say that it's a bad thing if I put more out than I took in? And they're saying, that's not the point. The point is you've done everything illegal about it. You used it for personal use. You paid off
elections,
golf courses, paintings,
a big portrait of himself.
Lawsuits. He used his foundation money to pay off his own lawsuits for his own company. It's so illegal, and he's like, what's wrong with that? He doesn't want to have to follow the rules, and he says, I this is bogus. They're picking on me.
Yeah, wah.
Those New York Democrats are picking on me,
Yes,
and I
yes.
am not going. And I said, I'm not going to settle this one.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to have a choice,
No,
buddy.
guess what? Because it's law now. It's not about a personality issue or anything. And I'm sure that the whole state of New York, the Attorney General, isn't taking shots at you just for the sake of doing that. I'm sure she's researched somewhat. And all his kids have been charged too.
I know.
Or sued, or charged,
I
or
know. I
both.
wonder if they'll get a discount in jail if they all got put in the same cell.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They'd have to have a designer go in first, though. Because, like, seriously, the Trumps.
Melania can go in first because she's not charged with anything. She can go and set the whole thing up and say, bye-bye, Donald.
Yes,
I'm
thank
going back
you.
to Slovakia.
I'm going back. I'm taking my son. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that would
Bye-bye.
work. That would work. So who's coming up today?
Oh, it's going to be a great show. I love Fridays. We have great, I love all my guests. But today...
Good cover. That was good. Yeah,
but
that was
Fridays
good.
tend to be just a really fun day for some reason. It just sort of works out, mostly because we have the Humane Society and Cindy Ross with the pets. And I don't know what
I don't know why that's fun.
I don't know who she's bringing in today, but wait, did we tell anybody last week that Sugar got adopted? We had a dog.
Oh,
on
yes!
We had a dog on last week. Her name was Sugar. She was a 6-year-old Shepherd Cross, and she had been returned already once to the Humane Society. She had a traumatic week, and we got a message from the Humane Society later that day that Sugar had been adopted. So
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Thank you very much
So let's
for
see who we bring in
adopting.
today and see if we can get that pet adopted today
And
as
even
well.
though I'm afraid of dogs, Sugar was very sweet.
Her
little
Sugar tends to be
eyes.
sweet.
Oh, gosh, you had to, didn't
And
you?
then I have another pet coming on this morning. He's my dear. And when I say pet, I mean a nice. But my grandmother used to say, "Oh, you're a pet."
Yes, my grandmother
This was a
too.
compliment.
Yes.
Richard Kim, who is the founder and the director of Studio Dance Arts,
And famous.
and quite
Like,
famous.
when he came home, people
he
were
danced
like,
with Michael
"What?
Jackson.
I think Richard Kim came home. I think Richard's home."
I know he's back.
15 years ago already.
It's flown by, and they're
Yes.
celebrating their 15th anniversary with their big SDA live show this weekend, which I'm going to MC. And so he's going to talk about what it was like to come back and start this business up as a young entrepreneur in Sault Ste. Marie and the success that they've had, and about this anniversary show. So
That sounds so interesting.
it
What
does.
a great show you have.
So well, we have.
Yes, we have.
So, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Richard Kim and Studio Dance Arts, and Luann has the news coming up later, and much, much more on Mornings with Luann and Tim. Welcome back. As promised, Richard Kim is joining me this morning. Richard is you're the director of Studio Dance Arts, owner-operator of the multiple studios you now have. Welcome to ONNtv.
Thank you for having me.
It's kind of strange that you and I are friends in real life, and here I am interviewing you for the show.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back, Richard, we didn't know each other when we were growing up in Sault Ste. Marie.
No, I knew of you, but I didn't really hang out.
And you were a piano player in the Sioux, weren't you? I mean, you studied piano.
Yeah, like my parents put me in everything. So, they put me in piano at the age of 7, and then a year later, they put me in dance. Well, I put me in dance.
You were a dancer at Sherry Walsh?
No, I started off at Davy Dance.
Did you with Heather Davy?
Mrs. Davy and Heather Davy.
Yeah, okay.
And then I moved to Sherry Walsh, as a teenager. But I did music and dance, and my dad put me in things like baseball and hockey.
Sure.
And he said I was never good at that stuff. He said I'd be in the outfield tap dancing. So he's like, okay, so this kid's passion apparently is the arts, dance and piano. So I did that. And after high school, like every Korean parent, they wanted their son to be an accountant or a doctor, lawyer. So I applied to Queen's University in Waterloo, got into those for accounting and
You did?
I did.
I didn't know that.
I was supposed to go there, but at the last second, it was in the spring, Mrs. Oswin.
In the spring already?
It was in the spring. It was during the audition
so yes,
period.
there already would have been.
Yeah, at the last
accepted.
minute, Mrs. Oswin, who was a local piano teacher at the time,
Yes.
and my piano teacher, Mrs. McNally, they suggested that I audition for the Juilliard School for piano.
In New York, okay.
In New York City.
Yes.
It's a fine arts program.
One of
dance
the best
music.
in the country, really.
Yeah. And so, we didn't know anything about that kind of stuff back then. So we just went ahead and did it. My parents drove down to New York City in the car. Yeah, my sister, my mother, my dad, we drove down, auditioned
Just blindly going down to Juilliard.
and auditioned for the dance program. I got in, and
The
so
dance program?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I wanted to dance.
Okay.
So that was a little switcheroo.
What a switch.
Yeah, but I got
You were
into
going
that.
down for piano and you would switch to dance.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, like originally after high school, I wanted to open up my own dance studio.
Right away.
Right away.
Kind of
I
like
did.
Kim Greco did that in the Sioux with piano.
I think
she-
most of the dance schools at the time did that.
Yeah?
Right?
Just out of high school, you start.
Yeah. But my parents said, you know what? If you're going to do something in the arts, we want you to at least go to school for it.
Right. My father was the same.
Right.
Go to school, get a degree, because then you can always have something to fall back on. You can become a teacher, blah, 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 blah.
That's right. Yeah. So that's why I did that. So-
And then, so after Juilliard, you started working in the field.
Yeah, no, I went to Juilliard. It was a BFA Fine Arts program in dance, and I also did the music portion of it.
Oh, so did you keep up your piano then when
Yeah,
you were
the
there?
dance program also had
I have been bugging
keyboard.
Richard Kim to play piano for me for 15 years, and you won't do it.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't know if I can.
But you did play there too.
I did. It was part of the dance curriculum. So,
Cool.
Yeah. But after that year, there was an audition in New York City that Julie McDonald from LA was a local agent in Hollywood. And at the time, she was representing Paula Abdul, the choreographer. And the dance industry was just building up in LA. So she had a casting call in New York City for new talent. I went to it. A bunch of my classmates went. And then we got a call while I was at home, actually. She called and said, you know what? You should consider moving to LA. I'd like to represent you because the dance industry is really booming, and we think you have like the right look, the right kind of style.
You were a baby.
I was literally 20.
Holy
smokes. I was 20 years old. So I came home. I took a year leave of absence. I had a meeting with the artistic director of the school from Juilliard, and I said, you know what? I want to take a year off and go try, dance in LA. And of course, they frowned on it because they're more of a conservatory, classical, and that kind of thing. They're like, you want to go do music videos and commercials and that sort of stuff? And I said, yes.
Yes, I did. Because I want to pay the rent.
Yeah, so I did. I took a year leave of absence, and I went down to LA, blind, 20 years old, and I just went to audition after audition. The first job I got out there was Star Search, that talent competition.
What do you mean? What did you do on Star Search?
I danced with a dance group there.
No, you did not.
There was an old talent competition called Star Search.
I knew Star Search.
Yeah,
Ed McMahon was the host.
It was kind of like America's Got Talent, but for, back then.
Huge.
Ed McMahon, that's right.
I watched Star Search all the time.
Yeah, and
were on it?
I was on that in a dance group of 4 people. We were called 4+1, 4 guys and 1 girl. And the girl that was choreographing that group, her name was Liz Imperio.
Okay.
And she, long story short, she's the one that got my working papers and my visa in the States. She sponsored me, right? And so when we did that show, a couple of months later, she was booked to choreograph Gloria Stefan's world tour. So I went to that audition, and then just from there...
That's how you got the gig with Gloria
That's
Stefan.
how I got the job. And that was a 2-year world tour. Yeah, and then after that, I went back to LA, and then it's just kind of things started happening, and I started doing more dance jobs and working with...
So you danced with Academy Awards. You danced on one year, didn't you?
Yeah, we did, a lot of television stuff, the American Music Awards, Academy Awards, the Soul Train
When was it you
Awards.
danced back up for Michael Jackson? Which was that?
That was it was 1993's American Music Awards at the Shrine Auditorium, which is no longer.
Oh my God.
But he was the opening act, and we performed Dangerous from that album. Yeah.
And Reba McEntire, right?
And then, I did her tour for about a year and a half, the North American tour.
And did you work with Paula again?
Didn't work with Paula.
No, okay.
No,
All right.
Yeah.
And then, well, you know what? Now we have to go to commercial and we'll come back.
Yeah,
and then
for
we're going to get to the part where you arrived in Sault Ste. You made the decision to come back to Sault Ste. Marie. That must have been
coming
really weird.
I wanted to, though. I was ready.
All right.
I was ready,
we'll talk about that when we come back. More with Richard Kim. Studio Dance Arts 15th anniversary show coming up this weekend. SDA Live at the Community Theater Center Saturday and Sunday. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim. We're back with Richard Kim from Studio Dance Arts. If I'm not mistaken, in addition to all the performances you were doing, were you also at this point starting to adjudicate in the States? Had that happened for you yet?
Yeah, so living in LA for almost 12 years, you know, was freelancing. So we'd go out for different auditions being submitted. But at the same time, I always used to come back and do guest choreography, guest teaching, Japan, throughout the US and Canada, and also adjudicating. So every weekend, if I wasn't gigging, I'd be out adjudicating dance competitions, and yeah.
So then the decision, you made the decision to return to Sault Ste. Marie. What year? That was just over 15 years ago?
In 2003, I made the move. But before that, for a good 5 years, I used to come back for a couple months at a time working for Sherry Walsh.
Okay.
And
you would be a guest teacher?
Yeah, working with her kids, doing guest choreography, guest teaching, and I loved coming back home. I loved working with you know, the kids at the studio there, and I knew eventually I wanted to come back home. I just didn't know when. So when I hit about age of 30, right? That's when I said, you know what, my body's getting a little bit tired.
Yes.
I didn't want to audition anymore. And, you know, after 10 years of dancing, right, I had enough, but in a good way. I thought I knew enough now, had something to give back, right? So
time for a shift in your career.
That's it, yeah. And I moved back in 2003. And again, it was just another random sporadic thing in the Sault Ste under, there's, what's the classifieds, like
help wanted, what
business sales or something.
Oh,
somebody advertised that their studio was for sale, and so I, you know, called up, and it was actually Trixie Hardy at the time.
Oh my gosh!
They wanted to retire that year, right?
The legendary Trixie Hardy.
Yes, Miss Hardy. So that, you know, that kind of started the whole catalyst of a studio forming. So that year, you know, I had commitment from a lot of their families and kids. We started off with about...
So some of Trixie's students were willing to stay with you?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
nice.
I think there was about 30, 40 of their competitive kids.
Oh,
knew
wow.
that the school was going to close, right? But then they said, hey, if you open up a new one...
that's a good base to start with.
Yeah, definitely, right? And within that year, literally about a month later, I guess, when people heard I was coming back into town, there was another studio, Turning Point, MJ Hannah.
Oh, I completely
It used to be the old Kiana.
She took it over from Kim, right?
Yeah, yeah. They called me up out of the blue and said, "We heard you're opening up a studio. We'd like to, you know, transition,
amalgamate,
and sell ours." And
so you bought into theirs too.
So I bought into their studio, right, and amalgamated the two schools, and still at the same location on Queen Street. And then so we started off with those two schools, and then literally. Another couple months later, it was now June at the time, like everyone's year end, a third studio, Melody Edwards Dance Academy. Do you remember?
That was
this
she's
goes
been
back
around
a long
for a while.
Time. Yeah, she randomly called me and said, you know, after the recital, I want to close my school after 8 years. I heard you're opening up the school, and so by the end of all
your timing was perfect.
The time, it's all about timing sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then. It's about timing when you get started, Richard, but then you've got to be able to sustain this, right? And that's where your abilities as somebody who has competed, somebody who has danced professionally, someone who has choreographed, someone who's adjudicated, all of those skills. And then, who had the business sense? Was that you, or did your family help with that? As far as, like, I mean, you have to get your company going, and all that
incorporated all the quarterly HSTs.
Who helped you through that?
It was my mother.
Yeah,
so I opened up the Studio Dance Arts. We incorporated the company, and my mother used to own Stardust Flowers in Churchill Plaza.
Oh, for heaven. See, I'm learning so much about you that I didn't even know.
Yeah, for 15 years, actually. The year I moved back, she closed down. She wanted to retire, right? And obviously she said, okay, well, Richard, you're opening up a studio. You're going to need some help, right? As far as the business side of it. And I said, absolutely. My dad was retired from the steel plant. 25 years he worked there. He was retired. So I opened up the studio. She was the one that did the front desk, you know, taught me how to do all the bookkeeping and the payroll and all that stuff. And
thank you, Mrs. Kim.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mom and Dad, for sure. Yeah, no, but so for the first 5 years, it was a huge learning curve.
Yes.
Huge. And, you know, I had an amazing staff. There's only maybe about 4 or 5 of us, right, at the time. But it was a huge learning curve year after year after year.
Did you bring teachers in from the other schools that had closed as well, or did you...
MJ Hannah stayed for the first year.
Okay.
I think it was the first year.
And where did you
Can't
find your
remember
other
too.
teachers from? Were they from Trixie's
Jessica
school?
Sharon just happened to move back into town. She
Again,
went to
timing.
the timing. She was from Kiana, but then she went to Quinte Ballet Teacher Training School.
So it's a
since
great
8 to
school
10.
down in the Kingston area.
Yeah, Carolyn Caputa Macaulay from Trixie's came and stayed to work with the babies.
With the
and-
kids, yeah.
yeah. So it just kind of just
It all
morphed.
came together.
It all came together.
And
yeah.
now here we are, 15 years later.
Yeah.
3 studios, is that right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we have Studio Dance Arts in Sault Ste. Marie downtown on Queen Street.
That's
and
right.
not only that, now you are a real estate gentleman. I mean, you own the building now, Richard.
Yeah.
That's
About
amazing.
2-3 years ago, I bought
You've
the building.
expanded the
yeah.
studio, doubled its size. Now you own the building.
Yeah.
You've got tenants upstairs. You're very supportive of the arts community. And I
Yeah.
know that for a fact.
Yeah.
So and now where else are your studios?
So we have a second location in Elliott Lake, and it used to be Dance Works by Christine Brunette, who I grew up with here in Sault Ste. Marie. We danced together.
See?
She had a studio there for 25 years, and at that point, about 8 years ago, she's ready to close down.
Yeah.
So we took that school over. She's still there to this
Come
day.
on.
She was only supposed to stay for a year or 2, but she's still there to this day teaching, and she kind of now runs that school.
Wow.
Yeah. And then about 5 years ago, one of my first graduates from here, Ashley Tremblay, who lives in Marquette, Michigan now, she called me up out of the blue and wanted to open up a studio. How
In
can I
Marquette?
do it in Marquette, Michigan? And so we kind of gave her our template
Wow.
of the school. And
Is this the first time for SDA Live for your year end to celebrate all the successes? Because we're not going to have time to talk about all the awards that you guys took home this year. People are just going to have to come to the show to hear about all the accolades, and there's many. But is this the first time for an SDA show you're bringing together all 3 studios to perform at the same time?
yes, we're so excited about that. So this year, our 15th anniversary, we have about 25 plus alumni coming back from Sault Ste. Marie. So we're super excited
Can I ask,
about
is
that.
Johnny coming home?
He's actually just moved to Germany. I
Oh,
think it is.
Johnny
Yeah.
McMillan is one.
He was one of our,
one of the huge success stories.
Amazing talent.
Of so many, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry, carry on. So,
but this is the first year that we're having both our Elliott Lake studio and our Marquette studio joining us this weekend on the Sunday show, 2 p.m.
Okay.
And we're all going to be performing together. They're going to do a lot of their competitive routines,
Yes.
along with our kids. And we also have a special number at the end with alumni. And yeah, so we're super excited that we're having everyone together. And
I can't wait to see everybody.
We're excited to have you hosting again.
Are
for
tickets
after
still
some-
available, Richard?
They are at the box office.
At
yeah.
the Station Mall?
Yeah,
in the
Station Mall box office,
Which
yeah.
means you can go online too, I believe, www.CTC, Sioux Community Theater Center.com. They may be available on. If not, they can just go there and call and get
That's
a phone
right,
number.
that's right, yeah.
Well, okay, I'm excited. The shows are Saturday, what time?
Saturday is the 2 p.m. show
2 p.m. and then a 4:30
p.m. show.
Okay.
And then Sunday is the gala show at 2 p.m.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, Richard, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Definitely.
And anytime you want to come back on TV and talk about events you have coming up, your summer program, if you want to come back and chat about that, you're more than welcome.
Oh, we'd love to. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, stay with us. We'll be back with more Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim right after this.
On July 12th last year, OPP started investigating a complaint related to deplorable living conditions of an elderly man in Elliott Lake. The investigation determined that numerous legal documents had been forged and a substantial amount of money stolen from that victim. On Wednesday, 68-year-old Giselle Davis from Elliott Lake was arrested and charged with failed to provide necessaries of life, criminal breach of trust, theft, and making and using forged documents. The accused is scheduled to appear in Sault Ste. Marie Court on July 3rd. 2 sisters ages 5 and 9 were seriously injured during a brazen daylight shooting at a playground in Toronto's East End yesterday. Toronto Police Detective Sergeant Jim Gotell told reporters at the scene that the girls were rushed to the hospital for sick children and both are expected to survive. The younger of the 2 girls was shot in the abdomen and is stable. The older sister was shot in the ankle. Both had to undergo surgery. He said at least 7 shots were fired, and investigators believe the intended target was a man who was among the 11 children in the playground. Gattel said investigators are looking for the male shooter and the driver of a getaway vehicle. There's no description on the suspects or that vehicle yet. Earlier in the evening, Toronto Police Chief Mark Saunders told reporters that both girls required surgery and called those behind the shooting cowards.
We've got lots of resources here, but right now we are definitely looking for a subject with a firearm that was last seen driving out of this area.
Chief, you said that cowards came into this neighborhood and shot these two little girls in a playground. Are you looking for one or more suspects?
Well, right now the information I have is one. I don't care what the number is. This act is despicable, and rest assured that we'll put the adequate resources on to resolve.
Just before noon yesterday, firefighters responded to a fire at a detached garage on Eastern Avenue. There were no reported injuries. The homeowner told ONNtv that he's heartbroken about the fire. Platoon Chief Chris Gillespie said that the cause is still under investigation. A former leader of the Conservatives in the Senate is blasting her erstwhile colleagues for spearheading a move to gut a bill aimed at cracking down on impaired driving. Marjorie LeBreton, whose daughter and grandson were tragically killed by a drunk driver 22 years ago, says she's appalled that her former colleagues have succeeded in stripping the centerpiece measure out of Bill C-46. The deleted provision would authorize police to conduct random roadside breathalyzer tests without needing to have reasonable grounds to suspect the driver may be impaired by alcohol. LeBreton had particularly harsh words for Conservative Senator Denise Batters, whose last month persuaded her Conservative colleagues, plus one Liberal independent, on the Senate's Legal and Constitutional Affairs Committee to delete the roadside testing measure from the bill.
Well, after interviewing Richard Kim, I've decided that I need to have all my friends on the show and interview them to find out more about their lives that I did not know.
Because you're too busy to actually connect with them otherwise. So this is very social for you. It could be Friday social with Tim.
So every day is a social day with Kim.
Yes, every day is.
What was going on in the news today?
You know what? One of the bigger stories is out of Elliott Lake, and it's so not pretty. A woman has been charged with fraud and forging documents. A man was found, an elderly man was found living in very, very bad conditions.
Elder abuse.
Yes. So they just charged her yesterday, I believe. And then in Toronto, two little girls with 11 other kids playing in a park both got shot.
What?
In the middle of the day.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, there was one adult apparently in the park, and there were 11 kids, just playing and stuff. And
an FBI agent did a backflip, his gun fell out and No, that was the other story.
No, that was the other guy. Yeah, but seriously, when they figure that the man was the actual target, but two little girls, two sisters, 5 and 9 years old, got shot.
Injured?
They were injured.
Wasn't fatal.
The little one had an abdomen. Took it.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
But they're both stable. But now police in Toronto are just releasing the car that.
It was a drive-by.
I
car
think
it came out of a car?
Well, he shot and then jumped in the car and left.
Oh my gosh.
And they think he might have had a driver.
And he was shooting aiming at somebody else and hit the kid. Oh my God.
Broad daylight
What's
in a
going
park
on?
in Toronto.
Wow.
It's like, what?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Gee whiz.
And more guns, eh? That's
more guns. Yeah, more guns.
No. So the Humane Society just came in.
Yes.
Wait until the next. Don't go anywhere. This is a remarkable segment coming up.
This is.
Oh, and just a reminder. Also, there's so much going on this weekend. Good
Boy,
heavens.
it's a busy one.
Holy smokes! Annette Katajamaki from the Canadian Mental Health Association sent me a message saying, please remember that from 11 to 3 this Saturday, it is their fundraising and awareness raising barbecue at Sioux Mill. Sioux Mill on Great Northern Road always does these barbecues in their parking lot. So they'll invite different charities or not-for-profits or to come, and they use their facilities, use the parking lot, and serve up barbecue. And
Are you cooking?
You wouldn't want that.
No, that's why I was going to say.
No,
If you're
no.
not cooking, I'll go.
Okay then, yes, so it's the barbecue from 11 to 3 and it's to support Canadian Mental Health Association
Awesome.
and mental health awareness, so that
And Annette has been with the association for
I think she said
years.
I think when she was interviewed, I think she said something like 23 years,
My
and director for like
gosh.
15 or something.
Isn't that amazing?
Incredible to have that kind of a career in mental health, because there's a lot, you got to do a lot of self-care when you're somebody who is administrating in mental health for all those years. So she obviously is doing something right, and she's a very, very respected woman in the community
Yes.
and in the industry of mental health.
So if you're hungry on Saturday and you
you-
want to support, that's a place
and you want to go and
sit
just say hello and thank you for all the work that they do in our community. for
Yeah,
helping
you know
out
what? I
people.
bet they'd love to hear that. Just somebody saying thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's also, this is the big blowout sale this weekend for Habitat for Humanity. 50% off everything in the store. As
All
well,
weekend?
Yes, as well. No, Saturday.
Saturday.
Tomorrow. I think it starts at 9. You'd have to check Habitat for
Check the
Humanity.
store hours.
Check the restore. Call and find out. But they were on. And remember I was telling Jim the huts?
Yes,
This is the big
yes,
raffle.
yes.
You can go in and you can buy one
okay.
ticket for 10 or 3 for 25, and you can win one of those beautiful...
They're worth $2,000.
$2,000, so you can go and
They're
enter the
sturdy.
draw. And I think they're also having entertainment, and I don't know if they're having, but anyway, it's a big deal at Habitat for Humanity's Restore this Saturday.
And then
as well.
the vintage cars on Queen Street.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's
there's
right.
there's everything.
That's starting tonight. They do the big parade
Yes.
down first time ever, Great Northern Road. 7 car dealerships are all
Imagine
launching
that.
spots for these people. You can go and bring your cars, and you start at one of those 7 automobile
Yeah.
dealerships on Great Northern Road, and then as they go down, you'll just coming out of the parking lots of all those dealerships down Great Northern
That's
Road.
gonna be
and
awesome.
then down Queen Street, and then to the SR Center. It's going to be just like the olden days when we used to sit and eat Dairy Queen. There's no more Dairy Queen. There's all kinds of new ice cream places on Queen Street, though.
Yes, there is, tons.
Go to those ice cream places and then go sit in the parking lot, look at all the vintage cars.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be so great. And the weather's nice. It's 25 degrees and sunny.
Yes, it's going to be a gorgeous evening.
Maybe
and then
some,
Relay
maybe
for
some
Life.
thunder and stuff after
Yeah,
midnight. But
after midnight. though.
that'll just cool us off at Relay for Life for the last hour.
Yes,
But-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Who's coming up? You said the Humane
Humane
Society.
Society with a very, very special guest. You're not going to want to miss this. So,
This is very, very emotional. If you like dogs, you have got to stay tuned to Mornings with Luann and Tim on TV.
welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim, and joining me now, Cindy Ross from the Humane Society, and Laura. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
And Buddha. Hi, Buddha. Hi, this is Buddha. Buddha is, what breed is Buddha?
She's a Shar-Pei mix.
Shar-Pei mix, I can tell because she's got the little wrinkly forehead.
Yeah.
Buddha, honey, look at the camera. You're on. Oh my gosh, you're beautiful. How old is she?
She's almost 2 years old now.
Oh, you're just a baby.
Yeah.
You're just a 2-year-old baby. And there's something very special about Buddha, as you can see. Buddha was born with no front legs, really. They don't work, do they?
No, they don't. They're
So she was born this way. And who on earth came up with the idea of creating a wheelchair for this dog?
well. There actually is a market for it. There's a company down in the place we got this from is down in the States, and they do market up here as well. And we did this in a matter of 6 weeks. We were able to get this custom made. For
Wait a
Buddha.
minute. Wait a second. The Humane Society in Sault Ste. Marie had this custom made for Buddha? Mm-hmm. You guys, everybody needs to donate to the Humane Society right now. How much did this wheelchair? Could not have been it. This had to have cost a lot of money. Do you remember? Do you know?
She did most of the work on
All
it,
said
so.
and done, it was about 600 American.
Oh, that's less than I thought it would
Yeah,
be.
and it
but
was
still.
custom built, so.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And you guys rely on donation to help pay for all this stuff and to
yeah.
run your organization. So
Absolutely.
everybody needs to just, if you think that Buddha is the most remarkable thing you've ever seen, I want you to go to the Humane Society and give them money. And even if you don't adopt her, just give them money to help support all these beautiful animals. How on earth did she, oops, that's okay. How on earth did Buddha get around for the first couple of years of her life before you guys came and got this device for her?
She is amazingly mobile, without the wheelchair.
I kind
But
of saw when you came,
Yeah.
when I was watching out the window, when they arrived in the parking lot, Buddha walked across the parking lot without the wheels, just on her. She can use her legs a little bit, and she uses her breastbone.
Yeah, and
So-
she did all the stairs by herself coming in.
She went up the stairs by herself.
Yeah,
I didn't
about
see
10
that
stairs.
part.
About
Yeah, there
10
are 10
maybe.
stairs.
And she did them all by herself. When we weren't sure if she could do it or not, because I don't think she's ever seen that many stairs, but she did them.
Buddha,
Yeah.
you're my hero today.
Yeah.
At the shelter, to go outside, we have about 3 stairs.
Yeah.
And she does those independently, so.
And if you had a nice backyard with grass or stuff, she'd get around. She probably wouldn't even need the wheels to get around a safe backyard. What do you think? Or would she always want to have this?
So it's just a relief for her joints and her muscles, and those front legs, like there are some pressure spots on it from using it, and over time, I mean, she is just young, but over time that can probably cause some problems for her.
Can we get Buddha to, Laura, do you think we can get Buddha to face the camera so that people can see? I love you as
I
much as,
love you,
maybe
Tim.
if I come this way, I'm going to come around here so that Buddha will, hi Buddha. Pardon me there.
It's okay.
How are you, girl? You're so good. Now, what about diet? Same as any other dog? Or does she have to have any special medication or what?
Nothing
Nope,
special.
nothing special.
Nothing special.
Nothing
You're
special.
you're just easy to get along
She's
with.
just a regular dog with
Just a regular
handicap.
dog with wheels.
Yeah, and
just
she
a regular
she doesn't even realize that she's
No.
handicapped at all.
She's
Well, because she has you guys to support her. Well, and also she just needs a nice family who will take her in and appreciate that she's a remarkable creature. So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and we're going to do some information for people to find out how they can adopt a pet from the
Perfect.
Humane Society and what's involved with that. And maybe we'll get some Buddha. Do you need some water, girl? Okay, we'll be right back with more Mornings with Luann and Tim and Buddha right after this. You wanna play? You wanna play?
After
You wanna play? Oh, look at, there's a nice shot. There's Buddha's bum. Oops. Listen, tell me about how long you've had Buddha.
almost a year now.
No, she's been living with you guys for almost a year. Does she have a
Almost a year.
special pen?
She has a quiet pen in the back, away from the other dogs. She gets a little frustrated with the other dogs in the shelter.
How was she first brought to you?
She was abandoned at the shelter.
Wait a minute, Cindy. Somebody brought this dog in and just left them in a cage at the shelter.
Yeah.
Well, at least they brought her in.
Exactly.
I mean, at
Yeah.
least they gave her a
Yep.
chance.
Yeah.
Thank you, whoever you are, who had Buddha and brought. You did the right thing. Whoever
Yeah.
brought this dog to the Humane Society, you did the right thing, because she is special. And so you've had her for a year. Have you seen much of a change, Laura, in her since she first arrived at the shelter?
Absolutely. When she first came in, she was slightly antisocial, nervous, insecure because of her disability. It puts her at a disadvantage with other dogs, so she was very nervous around other dogs and people. And I mean, she's just a social little butterfly now.
Well, how I don't understand. Can she play catch and stuff? Does she?
She tries. Yeah.
It's in her own little way.
Because
She can. Yeah.
She just was playing like I was teasing her. Look at her looking at Aaron.
She's watching. She's
Aaron,
intent.
She wants to know what's going on with you.
In the backyard, we'll throw balls for her. It's surprising how quick she can get around without her wheelchair too. Running in
We
the
can't
grass.
do her justice here. Our studio is too small to show you what she can really do in this chair.
Oh,
But
she can-
steers herself. She goes at a good clip.
Yeah. And if
And
she gets stuck, she can unstuck herself.
She can
and-
unstuck
Yep,
herself.
She can.
And so you wouldn't even necessarily have to live in a bungalow to adopt Buddha. You could probably live in a place that had few stairs.
A few stairs. Yeah.
You know, like maybe a split kind of thing, or somewhere where a few down to a basement, you know, like a family room, that kind of thing, 4 stairs
Right.
down, 4 stairs up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then backyard access.
Yeah.
Would be great.
She loves being in the grass.
Have you guys ever tried her at the dog park?
No.
No, not.
No.
Would that be a little too much for someone like Buddha?
She does still have some insecurities with other dogs.
Okay.
I think she still feels at a disadvantage when it comes to other dogs. She picks and chooses who she likes.
That's a great shot right there.
And it's certainly, there's no rhyme or reason to which dogs she feels comfortable around, but
So would you say that ultimately Buddha would be best in a home with not another pet? It would just be Buddha would be the center of attention?
I would say so.
I
yeah.
would think so too.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about children? Has she had a chance to be with any children yet, or have you seen her interact with kids?
At the shelter, like often most days she's up in the front visiting for a bit, and we'll have her where she doesn't have free range with the public, but children will come up through a gate and they pet her, and she's good.
She
Like,
is.
Yeah.
she was running around playing with my little guy too in the backyard.
Oh, was she?
With your child?
Yeah, and he's about 6.5, and they were just running around.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Oh, that would have been
About
adorable.
a year ago, I wouldn't have tested it with her, but now she's.
I have a question, Buddha. Does Buddha need, when you adopt Buddha, are there extra fees because of the special wheelchair? No? It's all included? You just get Buddha for the same price you get any other dog, even though she's extra special?
Exactly.
And what is the adoption fee these days?
It's $130.
Okay, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That is nothing.
Nope.
Because, just by the way, if you're planning on adopting a pet, you got to remember that there are expenses involved. Laura, maybe we should talk a little bit about, hi. Cindy, maybe we should talk a little bit about what people can expect, some of the expenses they can expect to face when they get either purchase or adopt a dog. Because a lot of people just think, oh, won't that be fun? And they don't realize.
Well, I mean, just your I mean, if you have a happy, healthy dog that doesn't have any health concerns, just your regular vet visits, your food, that's an expense that sometimes people don't realize what the cost is involved with that. And then if you are looking at a dog that could potentially have health issues down the road, you can look at some large vet bills.
And you don't know when you're adopting a pet because
You have
my
absolutely no
dog's name
idea.
is. Just hit my mic. My dog's name is Tippy, and Tippy has Addison's disease.
Oh.
So, which means her adrenal gland does not work, and so you have to be very careful because sodium levels, potassium levels, and electrolytes are all controlled by that gland. So she takes 8 pills a day, 4 in the morning, 4 at night, and she takes a little quarter thing of prednisone as well. And now she's developing some arthritis, so we've got a little pump of a syrup that helps lubricate her joints a little bit. So Tippy is, there's an investment, but I don't have children. I'm not putting Tippy through college, so she's a great companion, and she costs a lot less than putting a kid through school.
Yeah.
But you got to be prepared for these things because
do.
you're adopting a dog or purchasing a dog for life. I mean, that's the idea.
That's what we're
This is
hoping
a
for.
commitment,
Yeah.
right?
It is. It's a lifelong commitment.
So don't just
And
think you're going to
there's
get
no
your kid a
guarantees.
puppy and that's it. Put it in the backyard and let it go.
Yeah, there's no guarantees that they're going to be healthy for the rest of their life, and things come up and they can be very
And
expensive.
licenses every year. You got to get a pet license, right? And shots. I mean, all your rabies and your distemper and all those shots. We got to go to a commercial, but
Okay.
I want to go to a commercial and then we'll come back for one little bit just to give information, contact information, Cindy, on where people can go. And so, do you have a commercial ready to go, Kevin? Yeah. Okay, we'll go to commercial. We'll come back real quick and we'll say goodbye to the Humane Society, and then we'll bring Luann back because now Luann, did she see the dog?
Yes.
She wasn't afraid of this one, was she?
She wasn't.
Did she cry?
Yeah.
I think she cried a little bit.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Okay, we'll go to
maybe.
commercial. We'll come back and we'll find out how Luann felt about this dog too. All right. Our cameraman just came up from behind the camera and Buddha went right to him, and he's wearing a baseball cap, which you said is surprising because she's had issues with. I had a dog named Peanut, same deal. We don't know where Peanut came from, but men with deep voices and baseball caps, he would bite ankles. Peanut would.
Yeah.
So, but Buddha just went right to you, Aaron, even with your hat and all. All right, so we know you're located on 2nd Line East, right?
Yes.
Just past St. Mary's College.
Yes, right at the bottom of the hill.
And your hours of operation, Cindy, are?
We are there Monday to Friday for adoption from 11 to 5, and on the weekends from noon to 5.
Okay. And the process for adoption, can you fill out something online to get
There is. Our application is online, or you can pop into the shelter and pick one up as well.
And the website is www.
ssmhumanesociety.ca.
Okay. And once again, the fee to adopt a dog like this would be about $130.
$130. shelters.
Plus they have to get a license. What about shots and stuff?
She's current on her shots except for her rabies. We can't administer rabies at the shelter. A veterinarian
has to administer rabies, and a rabies shot,
Right.
trust me, not expensive. Maybe 65, 80 bucks. I'm
Yeah.
not even sure, something like that.
Yeah.
Under $100 for that. And you come complete with your own wheels.
Yes.
Which is brilliant. Okay, so please, if you have any interest or you know anybody who could be a good parent to this beautiful Buddha dog, to contact Cindy or Laura at the Humane Society, and let's get you a beautiful home. A year is too long to be in a shelter for a dog like you who's got so much love to give. We're going to be right back to say goodbye with Luann. Mornings with Luann and Tim. Cindy Ross, we'll see you next
Hey,
Friday
yes.
again on our segment with Pets.
Yes.
Laura, very nice meeting you, and thanks for coming here. And Buddha, my baby, I look forward to coming to visit you in your new home whenever you find it. Yes, I love you too. Okay, bye-bye. We'll see you soon. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Come closer.
So, how? You are not a big dog
my
fan. I know that. You've made that
gosh.
very clear. How did you feel about Buddha?
Buddha's beautiful. What a spirit. She
Mike in my ear is crying in the booth.
She came up the stairs, as they said, and I don't know a lot about dogs. I'm afraid of dogs. I don't know a lot about pets in general. And when I saw her coming up the stairs on her legs, oh my God! And you know what? When she was in the chair, when she was out of the chair, her spirit was exactly the same.
Yeah, it's
she
not-
has no idea she's handicapped.
No, and it's not, you're right, her mood did not change
Nope.
from the time she walked up the stairs across the parking lot without the wheels, and then when she was in here running around with the wheels.
Yeah.
No difference in her demeanor or her spirit.
Yeah.
How on earth does that?
I can't even imagine.
Well, you know, I think this speaks volumes for Cindy and the staff
Yes.
and all the volunteers at the Humane Society. That a
Absolutely.
dog like that could be dropped off at a year old with a disability and then end up being that sociable,
Yes.
that well socialized. I mean,
And it must be
kudos.
hard for them too, because a year, imagine, like I think she's a lovely dog and she has such a great personality. So you get to know her over the year and then somebody comes along
Yeah.
and hopefully adopts her, which is what you want. But as a worker, I'd be like,
No, there goes
make
Buddha.
sure you treat her nice.
Exactly.
Right? You have to be good to Buddha.
And
Poor
if
little
you are
Buddha.
interested in volunteering for the Humane Society, they can always use your help. And if you don't
Yes.
necessarily want to be hands-on with the pets, they need help, volunteers as well, organizing events and administration work. So
And you know what? Things like face cloths, towels, sheets that you don't use anymore.
blankets and donations,
Yeah,
absolutely.
anything, because then they get to make a little cozy nest in the
I'm going to see you tonight at 7 o'clock at the
Yes.
Relay for Life at the John Rhodes Arena. Come out and join us to celebrate the survivors of cancer and pay tribute to those who we lost. It's a great event,
It is. Looking forward to it.
and have a wonderful weekend, Luann.
Thank you. You too, my friend.
We'll see
Have
you
a great
all
weekend.
on Monday morning on Mornings with Luann and Tim. We did it, my dear.
We did it. We did it. One more week.
Have a nice time this weekend.